I got to play Elden Ring's expansion Shadow of the Erdtree early, and holy crap, we are in for a treat. Let me tell you all about the incredible experience I had with Shadow of the Erdtree. This is the view that you are greeted with upon entering the Land of Shadows. It's such a huge mood shift from entering Limgrave at the start of the base game. This landscape is somber, dark, and moody, and this entrance sets the perfect tone for what you're about to experience. The main areas that I was allowed to explore were the Gravesite Plain, Bellaret Castle Settlement, and Castle Ensis. I had 3 hours with the expansion, but it was nowhere near enough. One of the first things you may notice upon entering the Land of Shadows is this huge fire basket enemy. I'm really hoping that this is going to be one of many new giant type enemies to face. These guys are no joke. They kick fire at you, they punch and stomp the ground, setting the entire ground ablaze, and they rain fiery hell on you, which is actually very reminiscent of the fire giant from base game. And if you have a keen eye, you may actually notice the little fire giant faces that are attached to their legs. Now, I won't give away the strat for taking these guys down. You'll have to play the game and figure that out for yourself. But I will say I was one of the few who managed to kill one during the hands-on preview. And they are very fun to fight. In the Shadow of the Erdtree, there are 8 new weapon types and around 100 entirely new weapons. One of my personal favorites was the heavy backhand blade, which you can see in use here. Reverse hand swords are a new weapon type, and this particular one had an amazing weapon skill called Blind Spot. It was quite reminiscent of the Bloodhound's Finesse from the Bloodhound Fang, but with a little extra spice, almost like a combination of that and Quickstep. When you find this weapon in the DLC, definitely pick it up and give it a go. I really loved it. The 8 new weapon types are Great Katana, Thrusting Shield, Hand to Hand, Reverse Hand Swords, Light Greatsword, Perfume Bottles, Throwing Weapons, and Beast Claws. It was so cool to see weapons that were previously only consumable becoming their own weapon type. I think combat is going to be a lot more varied in the Land of Shadows, and I, for one, will definitely be doing a hand-to-hand challenge run. Just look at those freaking flag kicks. We had the opportunity to explore a new dungeon type, but I'm not going to ruin it. You're going to have to explore it yourself to discover its secrets. As this DLC is obviously heavily focused around Miquella, I'm sure we'll be learning more about this previously quite mysterious character. In fact, Miquella the Kind has quite the fan club in the Land of Shadows. There are many new faces to meet, and I have no doubt many NPC quest lines to discover. I'll keep it vague, but definitely keep an eye out for these crosses. There were 2 major bosses that we had the chance to fight. One you should probably already know about, the Divine Beast Dancing Lion, and the other I won't spoil for you. She was a cruel mistress, and I think it's probably safe to say that she is a sibling of an existing remembrance from the base game. But this fight was so beautiful. Her aesthetic was gorgeous. The arena was super cool. She was so freaking aggressive. I loved it. And the Divine Beast Dancing Lion, on the other hand, was terrifying to fight. They were aggressive as hell, they were tanky as hell, they were scary as hell, and they did not give you many openings to deal damage. I managed to pull off the kill in the time we were given, but it was not easy, and I definitely was not the one in control of the fight. It was complete chaos. In the Shadow of the Erdtree expansion, there will be around 10 main bosses, and of course, plenty of mini bosses to take down. I managed to take down the 2 main bosses in the hands-on, but funnily enough, the one freaking enemy that remained standing was this little asshole mini boss in a cave near the start of Gravesite Plain. And you know, as soon as this expansion drops, I'm going to that cave and I'm ending his life. Now, there are some sections of the footage that we were given that I actually didn't get to experience during the hands-on. So I'm going to give you some theories and some speculation that could be completely wrong. So take everything that I say for the next little bit with a grain of salt. This lush green area is like nothing we saw in the hands-on, but my assumption is this clip is just confirming that you can in fact do jolly cooperation in the Land of Shadows. Especially given they took the time to show the summoning pool, and also it seems they're just showing off the bonus gesture that you get from pre-ordering. I don't believe we had access to this area. It could just be at a different time of day. But if you look closely, it's showing just how vast the land is. You can see buildings so far off in the distance that I think I can say with confidence that Miyazaki has completely undersold the sheer scale of this expansion. We only saw 1 map marker's worth of the realm, and even that felt enormous. This clip to me is showing off just how much verticality we can expect. That is a freaking huge Spirit Spring jump, and you can hear in the clip that it's discovering a new area. So it makes me wonder, how many levels of exploration are there? We know there's going to be underground sections as well as the normal above ground areas, but judging from this clip, there is some serious height to this map. The scaling is definitely something they are showing off in these clips, whether it's the distance of buildings in the background, the size of the giant doors and castles. I feel okay saying that this land is going to be freaking huge. This appears to be a lower floor of a castle, and I'm curious as to what this area holds. Could it be a hint at a new dungeon type with some kind of flooding mechanic that we need to drain to access the boss fight within? I'd love to know your thoughts on this clip, because to me, showing that water and the fountain felt very intentional to me. In fact, all of this footage feels very intentional. Now, I don't have any major theories for this section, aside from the fact that it feels incredibly dreamlike, which is a very consistent theme in this entire DLC. The glowing flowers in the field are giving me Ishin vibes from Sekiro, so could this be a late game section of the expansion? They're showing us these weird little worm creatures, which are giving me like the stone worm vibes from outside the Everjails, so maybe they're related to that somehow. There's also a big cliff off into the distance leading up to a high point. Perhaps there's a portal up there taking us to a different area. I have no idea what this is, but my God, the visuals are just beautiful. One of my main hopes for the DLC, as an absolute sucker for punishment, was that it would kick my butt. Traditionally, the FromSoft DLCs have been a lot tougher than base game. I'm looking at you, my dear. But I'm happy to report, even if you're not all that happy to hear it, that the Land of Shadows will definitely test your will. I consider myself a pretty capable player, having beaten Elden Ring at level 1, but these enemies are no joke, and I'm genuinely scared of having to do this level 1. There was a really nasty little enemy at the start of the Gravesite Plain that was coined the Tree Sentinel of the DLC. He nearly got me, but I managed to just survive during my entrance, so I'm happy to report that I got to keep my gamer card. But the same cannot be said for my first few attempts of the Fire Basket Giant. To make your life a little bit easier, there's a new leveling system that only applies in the Land of Shadows. You will find Erdtree fragments, which you can use at a site of grace to bolster your abilities. This will increase your attack and defense, and you can also hand in Revered Spirit Ash to increase the attack and defense of your spirit summons. This will also buff Torrent's defense as well. Our builds during the hands-on were level 150, and we had the opportunity to find a handful of Erdtree fragments. It's hard to say without more time with the game how much impact each fragment had, so I'm excited to explore this a lot more when it comes out. I can say with certainty that if you enjoyed Elden Ring, you're going to love this DLC. Even with the short time I had with it, I already feel so attached to this world, and I cannot wait to explore it in full on June 21st. A huge, huge thank you to Bandai Namco for this opportunity to experience the incredible expansion early. I'd love to know your thoughts about the Land of Shadows. If you have any theories, anything that you might think that I said that was completely wrong, any weapons you're looking forward to, give it all to me down in the comments. It is going to be a long couple of weeks waiting for this expansion, but we are so close now, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity. If you are new around here and you don't know what it is that I do, I stream full-time on Twitch. I've been doing a ton of Elden Ring, doing my 6th or 7th playthrough, and I will be doing my full playthrough of Shadow of the Erdtree on Twitch. And then when I summon up the courage, I will be going through and trying it level 1. So hopefully I'll see you on Twitch.